Have you ever wondered how professional songwriters can get their songs to sound just so addictive to where you can't stop listening? They might use just a handful of chords, the melody's pretty simple, but for some reason, you just don't want to skip to the next song. It's so good every time you hear it. Well, today, we're going to take a master class in Taylor Swift's new song, I Knew It, I Knew You, that was from Toy Story.
I knew you through the days of the blades of the grass in summer.
So right away, one of the things I like that she does is the song is about nostalgia and thinking about a childhood love or friend, and she uses that F major 7 chord when she's playing this, and that chord is very special. It's very light and airy. It's almost reminiscent. And the chord itself is reflecting the idea of the lyrics. A major 7 chord can help you think about the past, and the song is also trying to think about someone that she loved in the past. So I love that use of the feeling of a chord to reflect the imagery of the words.
Parachutes for the free fall of being younger. I memorized the sound of your barefoot steps.
I like that
Running
movement upwards.
wild, this
All right, we
pain
have some chromatic movement downwards.
life has ways of leaving those days behind.
So I really like that. We start on that A minor, then we go to the A major because we're trying to lift up. We're leaving those days behind. But as we do that, every word is going up. We're leaving those days behind all the way to that D minor chord. And we're actually traveling through a circle of fifths progression here, going from that A to the D, and then soon we're going to go to G and then to C. And that is such a good sound. The ear loves hearing the circle of fifths progressions.
But seeing you tonight, I remembered I loved you. Came back when it mattered, I saw you.
So you'll also hear now we're going into the chorus, but the drum beat isn't changing. The drums are not really a focal point of the song. They're kind of driving it in the background a little bit, but they never change throughout the entire song. It's just keeping that most basic pattern. And that's because I think Taylor does a really good job here of using her words as an actual percussive device in this song. They're very well placed. Sometimes when you put too many lyrics in a song, it can sound like you're really getting mush mouth over the vocals. But I think, like you see in Billie Eilish's Bad Guy, the words are almost being used as another percussion instrument here. And I think that's really cool.
Standing there in the light of the window, wearing that same smile. Man, it's been a while, but I knew it, I knew you.
So like that little vocal, I knew it, I knew ya. Just adds a little bit extra because we're going to hear that line so many times throughout the song. So just doing little things here and there, especially when you have a line you're repeating over and over, can make it seem different. Even though it's the same lyrics, it's the same actual melody and notes, but we're just adding that little bit to make it just different enough to where you still want to keep listening.
I knew it, I knew you. I
All right,
knew
we're back in the
you. On your
verse,
blues like a mood ring changing colors. You
but
did
we've added a little more.
times we could
We're
fight
taking
like
away the
this.
harmonica here.
Watched you drive.
So what I like that Taylor's doing here is we have verse 2, it's the same melody, it's the same chords. It's kind of repetitive, but we're going to change it up now. She instead of having the harmonica doing little hits here and there, she has her voice layered in at different harmonies to make it sound more full. She's filling out this sound by adding those vocal layers, and it makes it different enough, but it's still recognizable from verse 1. But because it's a little bit different, our brain processes it as an entirely different thing and re-triggers that dopamine response, making us not hit skip to go to the next song.
Around the bend for what I thought would be the last time I saw
Here we
my
go with that
friend.
chromatic movement again.
But love has ways of bringing things back to life.
And even then, you can see those words bringing things back to life. We're going up because we're bringing it back to life. It's a really good concept of word painting here, where we're using the words and the vocals melody to back up this idea of what we're singing about.
All you said was hi, and I remembered I loved you. Came back when it mattered. I
So there we had a brief pause that gives you a little bit of tension because you're kind of expecting it to do the same thing over and over at this point. But even that brief second cutout of the music is going to tell your brain, whoa, there's something new about to come. We better pay attention. We're re triggering that dopamine response in the brain to keep from hitting the skip button.
Saw you standing there in the light of the window, wearing that same smile. Man, it's been a while, but I
So this is the same chorus as we heard earlier, but if you listen now, instead of the harmonica that we had earlier, we're adding, I think that's a saxophone, maybe a trumpet in there as well. We have a couple extra instruments in there to make the same exact melody, the same words, gonna feel a little different. Because the average human attention span is like 7 seconds, and I'm sure that's lower nowadays with TikTok and Reels and all the fun internet stuff. But every 7 or so seconds, you need to be re-triggering that dopamine response if you want your song to hit on the Billboard, and that's what she's doing here. She's making sure that everything is so intentionally different, but it's not so different that your brain just tunes out. There's just little layers that she's adding or taking away here and there.
knew it, I knew you. I knew it, I knew you. I knew it, I knew you.
All right, and here we're kind of building up to the bridge. So now we're getting into something different. We had a musical interlude, but the music is getting quieter. It's kind of trying to trick your brain now into thinking the song is about to be over, but it's not over. We're going to come back in and build it back up and go into the bridge.
All the rivers I cried when we said goodbye.
And now, because we don't want to repeat the same thing over and over and over again, that's why we usually add a bridge. It starts on a high note, we have a C, and it's descending down grammatically. We have C to B flat to A movement that we did earlier, but we've changed up how the lyrics are going, and we also changed up the rhyming scheme a little bit.
Wondering if I'd made it up in my mind. And now you look me
There's that word painting in, made it up in my mind. The words literally are saying up as we're rising from that A major to that D minor chord.
in the eye. And you told me I loved you. Came back when it mattered.
Now
I
we're back to
saw
that
you
chorus.
standing there.
But once again, the instruments cut out. So we have the same chorus, same melody. The words are falling in the same place, even though they're different words. But you can hear most of the other instruments just cut completely out. We have a little bit of flute, maybe some xylophone, I think I heard in there. But that is also going to trigger the dopamine response because now we expect something. Typically, after a bridge, you build it up, and there's this really, really big moment in the song. And Taylor didn't give that to us. She actually took a lot of things away. She took out some of those layers that she's been building.
In the light of the window, wearing that same smile.
But there we go. We built it back up and brought everything back.
Wearing that same smile.
Now we have our harmonies. Now we have that saxophone. There's some other instruments in the background, but now we're adding back everything that we built up one by one by one. And now we have this big, almost wall of sound kind of thing going at the end of the song to just make you feel like we've arrived somewhere.
Man, it's been a while. Wearing that same smile. Man, it's been a while. But I knew it, I knew you. I knew it, I knew you.
So we kind of had going into the outro there this moment where we thought the song was going to end, but we're just dragging it out. We're wearing that same smile. Man, it's been a while. We're repeating that over and over because we're not quite getting to the end. We're creating a little bit of a question. Is this song going to end? Now we want to know. We've created a little bit of anxiety in our brain, and now it has to know the answer. So even though you know the song's probably over, especially if you're watching, you can see that progress bar. It's almost at the end. Most people will probably skip to the next song. But now you have to know, is this actually the end? What's going on with this song? So you're going to keep listening just that last few seconds.
Wear that same smile. I knew it, I knew you. I knew it, I knew you. I knew it.
I also love that piano line at the very end. We have those descending notes to let us know that the song is now ending. Everything in this song so far has had that upward inflection to let us know the song's about to continue or to match the words. But now we finally have something that's moving down. Just that last little key line to let us know this really is the finish line, guys. We're winding down. Now it's safe to go to the next song. So I think it's a really cool song. Like I said, it's under 3 minutes, so there's not a whole lot of, technical development in the song, but they did a really good job with the layering. They're adding instruments at just the right spot. They're taking them away. They're using the words and the instruments to match the feeling of the song. Those major seven chords are really helping with that feeling of childhood nostalgia. They've done so much with honestly not a lot of space. But it's these layers, these little tiny adjustments that you can make to your song that will help you write a better song, a more addictive song that people want to keep listening to and don't want to click away from. It's hard out there to get people to listen to your music and want to keep listening to your music. But that's why you have to do these little things that just keep the ear hooked. It keeps your music interesting. It changes something in just these tiny little ways. But that's what's going to keep people coming back and listening to your music and just keep it pleasant to listen to, honestly. It's a really short song, but this is basically just a masterclass in how you keep people listening to your music. It's a really well written song. Whether you actually like Taylor Swift or not is not important, I feel, because the song itself, you cannot argue, is very well written. Everything is so intentionally placed and it makes it a better song. So if you enjoyed this breakdown or you learned a little something, be sure to leave a like on the video and comment down below with what song you would like to see me pick apart and talk about the different musical elements used that make it a good song. Now, I'll catch you next time, and until then, be well and keep practicing so that you too can keep up that fight against awful music.